is turning, changing with the seasons of the year. Flowers grow where once the earth was cold and bare. Streams feed the rivers, rivers feed the sea, and the strength of my friends will feed the change in me. For there is no going back, we're too deep in it now. No going back, there is no limit now. No going back, no going back.
It's a scab. It's a scab, a load of ice and no horse.
No legs, because he's crawling to everybody.
And no legs.
No balls.
When we got the letter to say they'd been sacked, it was like somebody had died in our house, and that's the only way that I can describe it. For 2 years we've been, the phone rings and sort of like come in at this time, come in at the other time. You had no life. You were sort of like, you were beholden to the dock board because they were just in control of you, really. I'm 48 years of age, non-political and everything, but I feel as if I'm doing the right thing. My conscience is telling me to be down here, freezing to death, and I just feel as if I'm doing the right thing. I couldn't sit at home now.
Scab! Get the taxi out!
I've always been a person to stick up for the underdog, and I'm out here now sticking up for the underdog, really.
Put us on a bump steer there, didn't you? Done our best there as well. Hey!
Oh yeah, I've got a social life now. I didn't have one before. Yeah. So it's good. We have a good laugh and we have good fun.
Well talked, all day.
It's the time that we got closer together, Brian and I. We're close. We were close before, but we're closer now. And you're in the battle together. Yeah. Struggle for everybody. And I don't care, I won't be bought for £25,000. No one's going to buy me. So, and it's freezing on the picket lines.
I'm really confident that they'll get the jobs back. I really do feel that the MDHC is starting to back down, seeing as they're now making offers. Even though this one's hopefully going to be unanimously rejected. Because it's a crap offer, they want the jobs back, they don't want money. They're offering them money and they don't want the money. This isn't about money, this is about jobs. And this is about the future of the port of Liverpool and the future of the dockers.
Because they're not getting rid of us. We're coming if it rains, if it snows, if it's hailstone, we'll be here. And no one's driving us away. And if our blokes don't get the job back, no one in here's getting it because we'll close the dock.
The boys are at North Irish Gate where the Belfast steamers come in. And I think the ships are more or less unloaded by now. Trying to block the gates off. There's plenty of police here, which are normally more police than there is boys around. Not very many women here this morning, but then there's children going to school today. As we were videoing the boys here, the police are also videoing us. So we'll go over now and talk to a few of the lads. Today is the expected result of the ballot which MDHC have asked the boys to have over the dispute. Now this is the chap's coat, Dockers in, Liverpool Dockers in, Scab's out. This is on the chap's jacket, which I quite agree with anyway. We've got now as one of our officials, Kevin, and at the side of me we've got Terry Teague. Terry?
Good morning. Now, come on, man. You're going to get arrested if you don't move back. You move off the road, please, ladies. Come on.
Hello.
Come on, otherwise somebody...
Well, there's more police than pickets today, if you can actually see. Not all the yellow jackets belong to the dock workers.
Like, I'm old enough to be their mother, and I said to one young lad, don't you feel embarrassed doing this to us people? We're good, respectable people. We don't want this. You know, I said, would you like your mother to be confronted with this? And he couldn't answer me. You know, some of them, you know, have got a little bit of heart, I will say that, you know, but only some. I wouldn't say a lot. They're there to do their job and prevent us doing ours.
Some people who say, you know, how come you're there? You shouldn't be there. You're secondary picking, you know, and it's illegal to do what you're doing. Well, I say to them people, it's illegal that our men are being sacked for no reason at all for the gates, who've done 30 years service and 35 years service. That's illegal, and it's immoral as well. And if it's illegal, if you think it's illegal or whatever, so what? I'm fighting for my husband's job. Right. And so are all the other women and families that are there. And we're prepared to go on fighting. We've been threatened this morning. We'd be locked up. They're throwing snowballs, actually. Some of the young children were throwing snowballs, and we're being told by the police this morning we would be arrested.
I couldn't see my husband, I couldn't make my husband sign a contract to go past them men on there who, in his own words, were good men, hard-working men. And he chose not to cross that picket line. And I just can't believe that it seems to be all the wrong people getting victimised, and all the people who are quite comfortably off seem to get a bit more. And I'm fed up with greedy people. I'm fed up of hospitals going private and revamping hospitals up when there's no machinery or there's no staff to cope. Just the more you look into things, you don't realise it's the powers seem to do very well, and the majority of the working class seem to be getting trodden on. And I just wish, I'm only an ordinary housewife, and I just wish people would wake up and smell the coffee and realise how downtrodden they are.
People have got to realise it's not just the dockers that's being downtrodden, it's going to be everybody. You know, it's so sad. We should all be fighting for our rights. The only people who are getting rich is the rich people. The multinationals are making millions, and the rich get rich and the poor get poorer. I worked for 27 years for a tobacco company. You know, that closed down. Where I live, the industry around that area, Tate & Lyle's, British American Tobacco Company, Tillotson's, the whole road is now, it's suburban now. You know, they're all the places that's being gone. So, like, people used to talk about the good old days. The good old days are never ever going to come up. The bad old days are coming back.
That's right. Casual labour,
short
time work.
We've seen programmes on the television, and it was actually showing the area where I live, well, supposedly showing the area where I live, and talking about the people of Liverpool, unemployment, they don't want to work, you know, what do you expect? Let me tell you, what you're saying now is the people of Liverpool, the people who are fighting for jobs and don't want money, the people who have got feelings for people.
Well, people are very proud in Liverpool. I think people live under the thing that we're all, you know, illiterate and everything, and we're not. They're educated people. They give you the last penny. And I know with what happened to my son, the support I received from people in Liverpool was unbelievable. And I give the same support to road traffic victims myself now, having been there. I owe my life and my son's life to Alder Hay Hospital and Walton Hospital. They've closed down that place that saved my son's life. They closed down the accident and emergency. It's all bureaucracy. Give it the power to the people who live here instead of the people on the outside. And these people would run this country themselves because they've got hearts of gold. They're not stupid people. And people here believe that their roads are right, and they are, to earn a living wage. And people want to come and see the city for themselves.
We've got a caravan down there which serves tea and coffee, and you can book a fortnight's holiday in it if you like. I think it might be fully booked up this year though.
I got an invitation off Bobby Morton last night to go to the Italian restaurant with the Italians. Have you got an invitation?
Not yet.
Well, I have.
Saying about it.
I've had an invitation if I would like to go with the Italians.
Have you ever been with any Italians before?
I've had loads of spaghetti.
I've had lots of Italian meals, but no Italian men.
Have you had an invitation, Sue?
No, not yet.
Sue?
I'm sticking out for longer.
I went to the doctor's yesterday to get another sick note. And you know how hard it is now, the doctors, he said, sit down, he said, say, I said, what am I going to say that for? He said, my dog died yesterday.
woof woof. My children came in and said, Mum, does this mean we're really poor now, that people are giving us food? And I said, well, they're just showing that they're supporting us and they care.
But we get here with all the women together and we let off steam then. And we laughed about it in the end. You know, we were all laughing about our different problems, what we had. It didn't seem such a big problem anymore because we were all in the same boat. Then we all had this bigger problem, which was, you know, these men are out of work and these jobs is part of the heritage of Liverpool. My husband's father was killed on the dock and his brother's 70 odd years of age, he worked on the dock as well. So we couldn't let them just slide. We can't let that slide through our fingers at all.
We've got very short memories. Some people, the dockers have supported everyone. Anytime anyone's asked them to support them, they've done that. Now it's time for them to come out and support the dockers.
We've had more support worldwide financially than we've had of our own union, the Transport and General Workers Union. We've had more support off the longshoremen across America and Canada and Australia.
I mean, my husband's paid into that for 31 years and he's never asked them for anything, and now he needs them to support us. It's a big union. If every man just gave 50 pence a week, you're talking about £500,000 to support us.
In fact, you know, give me 100 women and get that and 500 men, you know, you get the job done.
I know.
It's got to be paper money or nothing.
What with the women? He doesn't
Well, I
take
just
pride.
made this one up.
Yeah, it's one you done earlier, yeah.
What's paper money these days? We don't see it anymore.
Gyros, isn't it?
Yes, well, you know, I used to drop my husband off every morning and I used to see all these men on the picket line and I thought they needed some more bodies there because there isn't as many men on the docks now as what used to be. Well, we all know that. But I long to be on that picket line just to be there and support my husband. But it's never been a woman's place to be down on the docks. So I just went and it's about a mile up the road and I was looking down and then the next morning I went a little bit nearer and then a little bit nearer. Till eventually I did manage to get in amongst this hall and my husband found me. He said, what are you doing here? I said, the same as you.
One thing I can honestly say, if an employer's done a job of work, he's done one good job of work, and that he's held us all together, and he's made us more solid and more powerful than he's ever envisaged. Even then we envisaged, the union couldn't have done what an employer's done.
That first day I dropped my husband off at that picket line and the men were standing around and it was a dark morning. I went past the dock gate and all these men and it was as though the dock had just died. That was the feeling that came across. It was the most awfulest feeling. It was a terrible atmosphere as you went past. And that is what is going to happen. The docks will just die. These men, you know, there's so much humour come from that dock. They had to have humour to go along with the terrible conditions they worked in. That's what got them through the days. That will never ever be replaced because the people who are there now, who have stole our men's jobs, are not true dock workers.
We were paid for the amount of jokes that we knew and the humour that we had. We'd all be millionaires. But the thing is, through, you know, struggle, you've got to keep your sense of humour. And it's no different today. You know, the women have got a better sense of humour than us, you know. I mean, if you look at some of the people they've married, they've got to have a sense of humour, haven't they? But nevertheless, the thing.
I mean, my husband actually was locked up off the picket line. for shouting as a man who drove past a strikebreaker who took £35,000 off the dock and was back working there. And because my husband shouted at him, he was bodily removed by the police and locked up in a cell and had to pay it in court the next day. The same day, sorry. So he's now on £100 bail. He's got to be good for 12 months. I'm sure he can manage that. But that's how he feels, 60 years of age, and it's his first, criminal act. Well, I'm proud of him. And I'm proud of all the other men that stand down there. And if be, I'll be locked up. What he can do, so can I.
They cared for them men who were standing there desperate to get their jobs back. And they were rightly there supporting them. And I agree with what he did. He can walk around with his head held high. You know, no one can point a finger at him ever through his life. But the men who did go across that picket line, they've got to live with that terrible deed that they did. And that they've got to carry that through the rest of their lives. Not only them, but all of their families, their children, their grandchildren. Fingers will always point, and not a nice finger to point at them.
Our men knew they had a lot to lose, but they're prepared to fight for us, and I'm prepared to fight along with them. And we're that way now. When we actually talk about it between ourselves, you know, we say, and our stewards this, and our stewards that, and our husbands say to us, they're not your stewards, they're our stewards. It's as though the jobs belong to the wives now. And we're certainly not taking the money.
Because it's our livelihood. They haven't just taken our husband's job away, they've affected our families. They've taken everything away. You know, how would they feel if they have to go down to a benefit office? I mean, my husband's pay wasn't nowhere near the directors. I'd love to see them have to go through what we've had to go through. But in the end of it all, our morals, they're intact, theirs are not. I don't know how they can sleep at night.
We were women on the picket line, collecting in the streets, setting up canteens, facing riot shields, speaking to an audience of hundreds or more. I never used to open my mouth before, marching together, standing proud. Never let them see you down, and there'd be times I'd stop and find this thought going through my mind. What's an ass girl like me doing in a place like this? I could be sitting at home, keeping out the way, waiting for a rainbow on a rainy day. What's a nice girl like me doing in a place like this? And the answer comes back loud and clear, I fight for rights, that's what it is. I know exactly why I'm here in a place like this.
In September 95, 500 Liverpool dockers were sacked for refusing to cross a picket line. Using flying pickets and the internet, they mobilised support from dockers' unions abroad. In February 96, dockers from 17 countries came to Liverpool to discuss building an international blockade against Mersey Docks and Harbour Company.
Boycott and hot cargo and scale have international meaning throughout the trade union movement. When we hear those words, we all know what to do.
It's very easy to say that we boycott the ships in Piraeus, when if they come to Piraeus, they might go to the next port, which is a small port, they will unload there, you know, so we want the support of all the little ports as well.
We feel this would take a lot of pressure off the dockers of New Zealand, but would still disrupt the flow of cargoes from any company which still wishes to deal through the port of Liverpool. Thank you very much.
One of the days during their week's stay, they came to the picket line. They marched from gate to gate along the dock road to close the port of Liverpool. The shockwaves from that day hit ports from Sydney to Lisbon, from Bilbao to Montreal. Dockers all over the world blocked ships and cargo, sparking the formation of an international dockers movement.
Unidos, jamás serán vencidos. Portuarios, unidos, jamás serán vencidos.
Portuarios, unidos, jamás serán vencidos. There's nothing I can do on my own without backup.
I mean, the feelings of solidarity and everything else, I mean, it's things that we've never ever felt. You know, okay, we've had solidarity with each other, but we never had it from people from all over the world.
But scabs have no class, they've nothing. So it doesn't exist as far as we're concerned. Although we were talking at him, not talking to him, and that's just the way he is to us. It doesn't exist. He's a non-person. If they want to talk about bully boy tactics, then let's talk about bully boy tactics. Let's talk about bringing the police down on mounted on horses. Let's talk about the employers threatening men's livelihoods, threatening their families, threatening their income. That's bullying. In my book, that's bullying.
We're now coming up to the North Irish ferries, where we send all the older fellas when they're coming to the end of their lifespan.
The workers united will never be defeated. The workers united will never be defeated. Hello, my friend. When I got here, boy. Johnny, well done. Thank you. All right.
Brilliant. Είμαστε υπερήφανοι που βρισκόμαστε συμμετέχουμε σε αυτό το δίκαιο αγώνα.
We are very proud that we participate in this just fight.
The Waterfront conferences, some sound the boys to death. No, you're sitting there hours and every day. But that comes, everyone was involved, and we're all longshoremen.
Camaraderie between everyone it was like just being in a meeting with Liverpool dockers, actually.
Yeah, they've got the cameras now. Right.
Yeah.
They're just picking it off the picket.
Right,
I just got on my car there and come right over to them. Someone's got a picket the other week, obstructing the police and that, you know.
If the police say anything, all you have to do is say, I don't understand.
We're used to them, man. We don't give a...
Well, sure, give them something to do.
My name is Michelle Murray.
Va a tener una connotación muy fuerte y estaros seguros que nos vamos a defraudar. Y si no, yo mismo, como dije en la conferencia, me amarro al timón del barco que sea pertinente, que traiga los containers de Liverpool al puerto de Bilbao.
He's certain they're going to support you, but if that was not the case, okay, he says that he'll personally, by himself, go and chain himself out to the vessel that comes to Liverpool. No shadow of doubt in his mind that they're not going to let you down. Be sure that they're going to support you.
Well, I'd like to thank him on behalf of 500 dock workers and their families. And I've got no doubt that he would chain himself to the vessel. He's a great man. And if he wants, I'll chain myself with him.
Obrero despedido, patrón colgado. Obrero despedido, patrón colgado.
Okay. Thank you very much. Venceremos.
It gets you, doesn't it? It gets you because you think, yeah.
And they're giving us support, really.
And we know that we're right. We've done no wrong. We are right. And this only proves that we're right, doesn't it? You know, when you see other people from good countries who are only too willing to help you, you know.
And then they're having their own struggles as well, aren't they? Yeah. And they're still coming here and helping us.
Yeah. Dès qu'on va rentrer en France, au Havre,
as soon as we're back in Le Havre,
on va réunir notre conseil syndical.
They'll have the local trade union board meeting.
Pour leur exposer tout ce qu'on aura vu, entendu.
To explain everything that they've seen and heard.
Et pour arrêter le plus rapidement possible des mesures positives et actives.
So as to decide on effective and constructive action to take.
Well, as you know, Marty, we have actually been around the world before, but never in these circumstances where we've actually spoke to you know, trade unionists, as dock workers, we were seamen, Jim, as you know, like, so we visited most of these places anyway before.
Sunken ship outside the Tagus, outside Lashorns, Lisbon. There used to be a sunken ship. Some ship sunk in the water. The mast still sticking, still there.
So we leave the bus behind, and you and I...
Are we ready to move on, lads?
Okay.
Let's go.
Let's go.
She's not going to cross a picket line, are you, girl? No.
I've been thinking what a hell of a crime it is in Britain not to cross a picket line. The democracy doesn't even seem to exist. The fella down there who I asked to stop taking my photo, turned out he was working for the police. He was taking a video picture of everybody for future prosecution, just for walking along the roads. It's a great place.
It's really proud and cry. Don't win to me.
You sort of knew what their feelings.
You knew what it was coming from and
Yeah.
what was coming from them. It's brilliant.
Yeah, great stuff.
What's really been important, you find out later, is that the women of the Waterfront had a tremendous impact, and it's held us in good stead, I think, right up to this day, in terms of the political and trade union support we've had off those groups.
Because they were moved by it as well, weren't you? Know, like we were moved because we were overwhelmed with it. But I think it also had the effect on them, didn't it? And I think, yeah.
Overwhelmed.
Yeah, we were.
Just overwhelmed.
Yeah.
We got the ACL in our hands. We got the whole world in our hands.
Oh, all right, great. Yeah, lovely. Brilliant.
We're going to call on a couple of delegates to speak, to give their thanks, and obviously express their support towards us all and our families. So the first one we'll pick on, because he doesn't like speaking, we'll call on Jack Heyman.
Well, we came here because Bernard Cliff invited the international dockers to come talk to him, but what we found is the gates are closed. I told Jimmy Davis today that if this is what it takes to shut down the port of Liverpool, then we're staying. One last message to Bernard Cliff and his colleagues. You can load these containers with scabs, but they're not going to be unloaded in the other ports around the world. I'm going to try to speak in English. I'm really glad to be here with two of my friends from Montreal, friends from all over the world, and I'm not going to... It's a police phone.
What have you done, monsieur? There is a police one, you got to beat it up first.
You already know that Canmore, Cass Company and Moorline, bastard company like your cliff you have here. We already put what we call Operation Liverpool. We don't have the right to blockade a ship in our country, but we have the right to fuck up a terminal. Thank you.
And we're making it clear to the Canadian Pacific that if he thinks that he's going to sail the ships into Liverpool, make massive profit, but keep us out that gate. Yeah. So we'll be telling them to get the fuck out of Liverpool. You know what I mean? Don't talk to shit about that, innit?
He's coming to the point.
The lads from Australia will make sure that before the day is over, whether it be this day, tomorrow, or the next day, that the victory, not only for the Liverpool workers, but also all dockers and seafarers the world over. That's the victory. That's
I represent the fighting Irish, and we're here to show solidarity with all the Liverpool dockers. The port where I come from, it's small. We tend to be like McNamara's band. We're small in number, but we're the best in the land. Just like the Liverpool dockers. We don't talk about if you win your strike. We talk about when you win your strike. We the Liverpool dockers. We the working class.
Okay, Jerry. Cos'è Liverpool football conosciuto in Europa? I blockers li facciamo conoscere nel mondo.
Okay, what he says is that he's one of the few Italians that hasn't got a lot to say. He's a man of very few words, which is unusual for an Italian. And what he wants to say is it's before now, if it was maybe only Liverpool football that was known around the world, now it's the Liverpool dockers that are known all around the world.
Grazie. Italia.
Did I tell you the night when I was with the Spanish lads and we were coming across town? I'd took them for a meal. And we'd had our meal and we were coming across town. So we decided to come through Matthew Street. And as we get to Matthew Street, who's coming the other way? The Italian delegates. All of them.
all met, wasn't it?
So they all gathered in the square of Matthew Street, their arms round each other, all dancing around singing Yellow Submarine. I mean, that was fantastic. Like, no,
I won't repeat what the other speakers have said. I first want to start off by bringing the fraternal greetings of the New Zealand Waterfront Workers Union to the dockers of Liverpool. We have a saying in New Zealand that united we bargain, divided we beg. What I've seen here, you won't be doing any begging. Our momentum is gathering, and stick in there, and power to your arm. Now you've all seen the size of Saturday, that's what we're going to end up by the time we go back.
It wasn't just meeting the top hierarchies and getting boards out, but just meeting the rank and file, the wives. It's like going into someone's home, wasn't it?
That's right.
You go abroad and someone invites you back to their house, you say, well, there's some special people then, because you go abroad, you just stay in your hotel room. Yeah, but if someone makes it, and I think that's the Liverpool humour and hospitality come over.
Next one from Greece, we're going to ask Nico to speak for Greece.
Τους θερμούς μου χαιρετισμούς από όλο το λιμάνι του Πειραιά.
Warmest fighting spirit from the dockworkers in Piraeus.
Την αλληλεγγύη στον Πειραιά την κάναμε πράξη και από αύριο κλείνουμε το λιμάνι.
The solidarity with the Liverpool dockers is put into action, and tomorrow we close the port of Piraeus.
Θέλουμε να νικήσετε.
We want you to win.
Πιστεύουμε θα κερδίσετε.
And we believe that you're going to win.
Είμαστε μαζί σας.
We are with you. Okay, thanks, Nicholas. As he just explained there, from tomorrow, they're holding a 24-hour stoppage in support of the 500 sack dock workers in Liverpool. So that should be applauded in itself.
Because we're being dismissed. We can't compromise, we're being dismissed. And so all those international representatives realise that. You know, the Swedish longshoremen, they gave us tremendous support. They never allowed ACL boxes to be moved up the Cape. And they wouldn't even discharge those ships. And there's all them delegates who've gone back to their own countries. They've actually implemented what they said they would do.
I bring greetings from Australia. It's been a most emotional and amazing experience to be here among you. It's been absolutely, thanks Phil, it's been absolutely, as you say, in Liverpool, absolutely brilliant. And I know that you're going to win this victory, and when we go home we're going to make sure that it continues until it is resolved in your favour. Thank you, comrades. Thank you.
22 weeks ago, Burnett Cliff or any other cliff would never imagine what was going to happen. So there we are now. The 500 are starting to shake the world, and we're not going to go back until we're all reinstated. We live here and we're going to stay here. And finally, if capitalism and big business has no boundaries, then trade unionism and struggle and solidarity worldwide will have no boundaries. United, we will win!
You are wonderful.
He said that it's just like when his brothers need it here, he'll be here. He's got no problems. He'll come when his brother dock workers need him. He'll come anytime you want. Tu puoi venire qui quando vuoi. Sei benvenuto.
20 live here.
Se vuoi fare 10 settimane, 20 settimane, anche per sempre.
No, c'ho 3 mogli, digli che c'ho 3 mogli.
He's already got 3 wives at home.
My God! 10 husbands!
Poi ce ne vuole un altro, però non ti preoccupare perché lei sta
These are what all the scabs are scared of. These are our secret weapons.
All the dockers all over the world. They're like a big family, can't be separated. It's so marvellous. One house, all house. No, but it is. One house, all house. And that's not just in Liverpool, that's all over the world.
I think they may most probably get like a dockers union together, you know, an international dockers union, to make sure not like this ever happens again.
It was just unbelievable what the Greek delegate said to that meeting in the Seaport Gates. I just thought, well, he's one of us. Did you feel that way? I thought he's fighting for life. You know, I just felt as if he was one of us.
My heart just... I got so much of a lift after 20 odd weeks. I couldn't believe it, you know what I mean? But they really... So, we're gonna win it, you know what I mean? Got to win it.
No power greater anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one. But the union makes us strong. Solidarity is forever. Solidarity is forever. Solidarity is forever, for the union makes us strong. Solidarity is forever. Solidarity is forever. Solidarity is forever, for the union makes us strong.
2 on 2. 2. 2.
Hopefully this evening will be a night of merriment, but don't forget why you are here. The thoughts of all those lads are with us all evening. We're going to have a great night for you. We've got an awful lot of talent lined up. But beginning the night for us this evening, I would like a big cheer. Our first act of the evening, Dr. Doctor and the Blues Academy. We are going to bring on, as far as I'm concerned, Liverpool's finest comedian, a fellow we've known for a long, long time and an old friend here at the Dockers Club, Mr. Jackie Hamilton.
We've got a different sense of humour because we've had to rough it. We had to get over 4 bread strikes. That was terrible in Liverpool, that last bread strike. Everybody sitting down the pier with a pigeon suit on. The difference between a Liverpool girl and a terrorist, you can negotiate with a terrorist. To come here tonight, it's like mixed emotions. I'm so proud of the turnout. I'm so emotional about the turnout, but I'm so angry that we're still being put through it, that the working class is still being put through it. The unity is incredible. This delegation from abroad is fantastic. But I've noticed that the media's not here. The BBC's not here. Radio Merseyside's not here. And Granada TV's not here. Jimmy Thomas won't be here. And Cilla Black won't be here. And her father was a doctor. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to be associated with the Merseyside Dockers. God bless you and victory to the Dockers!
Well said!
For the benefit of people who weren't at our conference today, we extended our fraternal greetings to all the international delegates who come down here. We did tell them that in 1989, although they took the National Dock Labour Board scheme off us, they never took our Dockers Club away from us. We have many delegates here, obviously from all over the world. So could I ask Michelle Murray first from Canada to come up and make a presentation?
This week, something happened. Dockers solidarity. And it's amazing. Exactly.
forget the debt we owe to those that come behind us. Victory to the Liverpool dockworkers. Victory to the Liverpool dockworkers family. Onward and onward and onward. We shall never give up until this place is won.
This is the greatest conference, the greatest week of my life. I'm not an emotional sort of a person, but the week will culminate in what we hope will be the first of an international gathering of dockers to fight the bastards. If we can't win it within our own organisation, we'll form another organisation. The Liverpool workers will win the day. If they win the day, the workers of the world and the dockers of the world will win the day. Thank you.
Excuse me, my speaking English no is good. Only
Long life dockers! Long life dockers! Long life dockers!
Ahora, me permitirán que no sea Francisco Ramos solo, o mejor para todos, Paco, el que esté aquí solo, porque nosotros somos un equipo de hombres. En mi país no habemos jefes, todos somos la base. El sindicato nuestro se compone de la base.
I hope that you allow me to come here with the rest of all the delegates, because in our union we believe very strongly that there are no leaders, that everyone is the same. It's a rank and file union, and that's why we're all here.
Sorry. A moment, please. A ser miembro de los piquetes y haber compartido con ustedes una semana que será la semana del futuro, donde empezará la gran internacional a funcionar por primera vez con ánimo de que nunca termine esta internacional.
I'm proud, and not just proud, extremely proud of having been part of your meetings, of your pickets, and I'm even more proud that now here today in Liverpool we have set up the international, and it's not the international for today, it's the international of the future. All the dockers will be united, all the dockers fighting together.
Este es el gran aplauso que nosotros ofrecemos, los españoles, a toda esta familia de estibadores portuarios.
I think that the biggest clap shouldn't be for us, it shouldn't be for any delegate, it should be for everyone who's here. All the Liverpool dockers, all the families, the local community, you deserve the biggest applause. We are proud to be here, we are proud to be fighting on your side. Thank you very much.
Me emociono muy fácil, a veces hasta se me caen las lágrimas. Es la primera vez que salgo de España al extranjero.
I'm very emotional, my tears are about to drop. It's only the first time I've been out of Spain, it's the first time I've been away from Spain.
Simplemente recordaros que somos estibadores y seguiremos luchando por este mundo tan bonito que tenemos y haciendo un apartado, agradeceros a vosotras mujeres, madres de vuestros hijos, esposas, que habéis tenido que pasarlo muy mal. Llevo una semana aquí, os estoy muy agradecido. Muchas gracias por todo y venceremos.
I'm very happy to be here. I'm very proud of having been involved with the people of Liverpool, particularly the women who've been solid out in the picket line, defending the job of the men, defending the jobs of the children, and we will surely win. Thank you very much.
Very quickly, please, from Ireland.
When Jim and I got on the plane last Saturday, we were 50 minutes in the air and then we landed here. And I think I'm going to ask for my money back on Saturday because we're still home, you know. We haven't come anywhere, we're still home. There was many great motions put forward at the conference. And I asked Jimmy here if I could put one forward, but he wouldn't let me. He said, we have to have a bit of decorum. It would have been the shortest motion ever put forward. Fuck them! Victory for the Liverpool dockers and victory for the working class!
Terry Ryan or Pat Lumber from New Zealand, everybody who's come down on the Sheffield please. Terry Ryan or Pat Lumber, please. Come on, the big fella.
Casualisation is all about splitting and dividing, and it's quite a simple exercise. You take one twig off the tree and you can snap it between your fingers like that. You put 50 together and it's bloody near impossible. You put 500 together like you've got here and you're never going to do it. So what I'd like to personalise it and say that I came, I saw, I was conquered. I love all you guys. And I'm going to ask one big favour. There's been the parties over the last 2 nights have not before 6, and I want to be here for the victory celebration.
A lot of Liverpool people come to New Zealand in our ships and skimmed out. You don't know what that means. It meant they saw that New Zealand wasn't a bad place, so they didn't want to go home. A lot of the people who did that married the Maori people, our indigenous people from New Zealand, so I'd like to say it to Maori, if you don't mind. Haere mai! Haere mai! Haere mai, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa! Ake! 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 Victory to Liverpool!
Carry, carry on, no
Portugal is a small country, but probably I can see from this moment now that we want to block it. Congratulations to all of you. Good luck.
Our Italian delegation, to take this to speak, our Italian delegation.
Di Liverpool e anche il nostro.
I think at the end we're all going to leave here with the same feeling, the same idea, and that's an idea of victory. There's an idea of looking to the future, because our future is the future of doctors here in Liverpool.
Che
mi dovevo portare cappotto, giacca e giubbotto. Sono venuto a Liverpool pensando di indossare giacca, cappotto, giubbotto, ma se sapevo che a Liverpool la gente è così umana e c'è molto valore, venivo in mutante.
When I came here to Liverpool, everybody told me I'd have to bring everything with me. I'd have to bring a coat, a jacket, an overcoat, a hat. But I've come here and what I've found is you don't need anything because the people here are so warm.
I portuali di tutto il mondo dopo questa conferenza saranno tutti uniti e penso che con l'aiuto dei portuali e con l'aiuto di Dio vinceremo questa battaglia.
But what I really want to say is that what I felt from this conference and being here with all of my comrades from all around the world is that with our unity and with our help, we're going to win this battle.
And I can tell you one thing today. Today it was a day that the port of Piraeus, it was dead because it's closed down in support of the dock workers.
Vive Liverpool, vive les dockers, les Français sont avec vous.
In Antwerp, the dockers, they still have a protected profession as docker. I'm going to tell them, if you want to keep this protection, at the first place, you have to support the Liverpool dockers. Thank you.
Young boy from Sweeney.
I'm a man from a Nordic country. I'm not easily moved. I've been to different international conferences since I think back in 1983. And most of them have been just a drag, actually. Just speeches, and nothing ever happened after that. But this conference is totally different. This conference shows a way forward, and it shows a way to victory. All the way through the 80s and the beginning of the 90s, I've been waiting for a moment when the trade unions, when the working class would take the initiative over the bourgeoisie classes. I think the time has come now. Yes. Yes. You've shown an example for all of us, all around the world. And together, we'll fight for a better world, for victory for the Liverpool dockers.
But I think all here know Denmark is an agricultural country. And we raise a lot of pigs in Denmark. Some is walking on 4 feet, some on 2. Now I want the Liverpool dockers to give the information for the port workers in Aarhus, what vessel is carrying this cargo to Liverpool. We could maybe have the possibility to take some action in Aarhus. Thank you. Okay.
Hoch internationale Solidarität! I will never rest until they stop this cargo ship to Bremerhaven.
Thank you all, mate. We have one more very special international delegate.
I don't think I've got over the picket line yet yesterday. I just felt as I walked towards your women, if I could have only thrown my arms around the whole lot of them and given them such a hug. They are the most courageous women I have ever seen. And I just don't think this dispute would have got to the extent it has and worried the employers and the government as much as it is if it hadn't have been for the participation of the women.
Comrades, brothers and sisters, we have one more very special person who we have to thank for this international conference. A person who realised what international numbers are all about many years ago before any of us ever thought about it. And that person is Jimmy Nolan, our chairman.
May I sing a song? If I had my life to live on, I would still do the same things again. I would still like so wrong to a place that calm, where happiness I'll never see. Well, I miss you when school days are over. As was walked down a lane we once knew. If I had my life to live on, I would still fall in love with you. Yeah. This is a
Let's hear it one more time for the Liverpool Dockers!
Principalmente a las madres. Es una canción dedicada a las madres. Y aunque amor yo tenga la vida, que me llene de felicidad, como el sueño no habrá, madre mía, como el tuyo no habrá de cantar.
on the march at sea. Ooh, ah, we're on the march, dockers on the march. Ooh, ah, we're on the march, dockers on the march. Ooh, ah, we're on the march, dockers on the march. Stuff your 20 grand, they shout, our jobs are not for sale. Da 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 dum dum da, dum da dum da dum dum da, dum da dum dum da da. Men and women side by side, united in a strong combine. They wouldn't cross a picket line for any boss's bounty. Da 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 dum dum da, dum da dum da dum dum da dum dum da, dum da dum dum da da.
We do have many speakers on the platform, but firstly may I introduce this white hat that I have on my head. This hat was presented to me by the longshoremen of the west coast of America, and that is the point I'm making, brothers and sisters. Our experience proves beyond any doubt is that we can unite, not just in this country, but we can unite on an international basis.
See how the flying pickets dance from Venezuela up to France. We're strong in the dance and we're not for murmuring. Workers of the world unite, the River Mersey is alight. We're strong and we're right, and the dockyard gates are burning. The dockyard gates are burning. The dockyard gates are burning.
They got to take a stand. Guatemala to Ecuador. The people know what they're fighting for.
People know what they're fighting for.
Let the people decide. Let the people decide. Let the people decide. Let them decide. See what we we need, what we want, where we need it, what we need, what we need, what we need, what we really need. Power to the people right now, right now.
We want to know what's going on in there. Because we want to know what's going on in there. But you're ignoring it. We're starting to know what's going on in there.
Well, why have you got to hide? Why are you hiding? What is going on?
Away from the carrier. I'd like to see what they do.
Come away from the carrier, please.